Hello and welcome back. Join us today in the kitchen and around our family dinner table for what we eat in a day as a family of 6. I hope to address some common questions that I've been seeing in the comment section, like my apron and the stove, and also the fact that my arm is in a sling today. We are going to be cooking from scratch, but also keeping it very, very simple for the fact that I do have a hurt arm. And this is what moms do. We just keep marching on. You know, life has seasons, and seasons of prosperity and feeling really well, and then also seasons of sickness and injury. And so we just have to do our best with feeding our families well and feeding them good food. This morning, we're starting out with some cottage cheese, some canned peaches, and our beef gelatin berry jam that we've made together. I also pulled out some leftover grits that were in the fridge that need to get eaten. If your family doesn't eat grits very often, you might want to consider adding them to your guys' meal plan. We love to have them usually as porridge with milk and sugar, but what's kind of fun is that you can also let your grits cool in any shape and cut them up and fry them in some butter, or have them in savory dishes for dinner and lunches as well. They're just really buttery, golden, and delicious. My kids love them. So this morning we're just frying up our grits with some fried eggs to go along with our cottage cheese. Okay, so to address the elephant in the room, which is the sling on my arm, I have been dealing with this for, going on 3 weeks now. And just kind of suffering through it. I started working out again and did some strenuous exercises, upper body, that maybe I wasn't ready for, kind of injured the arm. But then I was installing a new car seat and was tightening it and pulled up on the strap really hard and felt this crunch in my shoulder. And I knew that I did something bad. So I might have a small tear. I haven't got any x-rays. All I know is that my arm is just hurting terribly, and I keep re-injuring it as I'm picking up my toddler. I'm learning to listen to my body and take it a bit slower. I am not really here for medical advice, but I did want to share with you guys what's going on with me, what I've been dealing with, and how it's affecting my routines and life as a homemaking mother of 4 kids. Our bodies sure have a way of reminding us when we need to slow down and when we've pushed ourselves too far. Obviously, I'm in a sling today, and that is to remind myself to stop using my arm as much, to remind myself to not take it too far, and to really let the shoulder heal. I've also been applying lots of ice packs and heat treatments as well, which is good for anyone who has any sort of muscle or tendon or joint injury. But one thing that I've been really looking forward to is those Epsom salt baths. I love taking baths anytime, but lately I've been really treating with Epsom salt baths. And the way that I've been replenishing all that nutrients and sodium loss after a hot Epsom salt bath is with my favorite LMNT drink. This really is one of the treats that I look forward to every day. I honestly very much love these products. This is an electrolyte drink that has 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. There is no sugar, there's no artificial coloring or artificial ingredients at all in this, so you can feel really good about putting a clean product into your body. There's a few reasons why you would want to implement some electrolytes back into your body. LMNT can also help prevent and eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleepiness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. Postpartum can be rocky anyway, but after my 4th baby, I was having terrible migraines frequently. I started taking LMNT electrolyte drink, and I saw a decrease in my migraines. I had more energy, and I just felt better. LMNT is so versatile. You can have it in a hot drink. All winter long, I've been enjoying it in a hot chocolate. My favorite flavor of all time is their chocolate caramel, and I have it like a hot chocolate with my beef gelatin marshmallows in the wintertime and a little bit of cream. I also love their fruit flavors as well. One of my favorites is their watermelon salt, raspberry, grapefruit. LMNT is not just for athletes. LMNT is for anybody who is suffering with an electrolyte deficiency. That could be mothers, homesteaders, farmers, nurses,
Anyone who has a taxing or stressful job or lifestyle, or just trying to keep up with the pace of life, Jared and I find it especially helpful in the hot and sultry, sweaty summers in Missouri as we're working out in the garden. This is a special treat for us. So I want to let you know that LMNT is offering my listeners a free sample pack. It comes with 8 different flavors. It's a great way to try out all the flavors with any order that you make on their website. And it's only available through this link. You're gonna wanna go to DRINKLMNT.com/pioneerhome to get your free sample pack of 8 different flavors. And thanks for sponsoring this video, LMNT.
Probably one of the toughest things I've been having trouble doing in the kitchen with my arm is chopping onions. So as you can see, my oldest is helping me in the kitchen today a lot, and he actually loves to cook. He cooks a lot of his own meals. He asks if he can help with cooking and seasoning things. So this is definitely not a disposition for him. He is passionate about cooking in the kitchen. Today we're having soup and sandwiches. We often have homemade tomato soup. We start out by sauteing some onions and garlic in either olive oil or butter and throw in a big can of tomatoes. I'm also making some homemade mayo for our tuna fish sandwiches. Some of the people in our family like hot toasted tuna melts to go with their soup, and some people like them cold. I am making this with 1 egg and drizzling some avocado oil, and that ran out, so we're also adding some olive oil in there and some lemon juice, a little bit of salt, and you can add some mustard or whatever seasoning flavor you want to add to your mayo. For the tomato soup, I just add whatever tomatoes I have in the pantry. Sometimes that's a big can of whole tomatoes, and sometimes it's diced tomatoes. And then I add a generous amount of salt, usually just make the soup by taste, and then about a tablespoon or so of sugar to go in it. And then I also have some dry. You could add some Italian seasoning, or maybe none of those herbs at all if you want to keep it really simple. And I just let that cook here on the stove until all of those flavors kind of meld together. In seasons of injury and sickness, I think it's good to know what shortcuts you can take to make your life easier. And putting together some tuna fish salad, making a simple soup out of canned tomatoes is something that I feel like I can do this week. I had trouble making bread. My arm just wasn't up to kneading bread and doing the stretch and fold, so I bought a couple of loaves of bread from the grocery store. I bought some healthy-ish cereals for the kids so that they could get themselves some cereal in the morning. It's about knowing our limits, understanding our boundaries, and I think as mothers and women, we could give ourselves a lot more love, a lot more forgiveness, and a lot more rest. It's been really fun to see what the kids are really capable of, to turn the kitchen over to them and give them more power, I could say, in the kitchen and in other parts of the house too, to say, I really need your help. Can you take care of this for me? They really are so capable. So the other day, Jared grabbed a few groceries and he left some bananas in the car. And incidentally, on one of the nights that it was -degrees. So those bananas were frozen and then thawed. And they're perfect for making some banana bread. They're pretty mushy. So I thought I would make some banana bread. And then I realized that we used all of our eggs this morning. And so today we're making eggless banana bread. But I thought that would be so appropriate for the fact that eggs are just insanely expensive at the grocery store right now. And our chickens, well, would be laying more eggs, but we have less chickens than we used to due to some predators. So anyway, it's time to get creative with some eggless recipes. I thought you guys would like this one. It has buttermilk and it's very moist. And I thought they turned out delicious and fluffy, despite the fact that they didn't have eggs. And I even threw in some chocolate chips and we're adding some toasted pecans as well. I get a lot of questions about the apron that I'm wearing right now. It's kind of become my signature apron here on the channel. It just goes with everything. At the same time, it is a creamy white and so it gets stained. But you know what? That's what aprons are for. They're made to get dirty so your clothes don't get dirty. So I don't really worry about it much, especially since it's a pretty inexpensive apron. I did not make this apron. This would be a pretty simple apron, I think, to make. I thought about deconstructing it and actually using it as a pattern to make more. And maybe I will do that and share that with you guys here on the channel. I will make sure to put a link for this apron or maybe a similar one if they still have it available. I just ordered it on Amazon a while ago and I get questions about it all the time. So I will try to make sure to have it linked down below so you guys can find that, and maybe it will just be one of those links in the description box that's always there since I get so many questions about it. The beautiful thing about this style of apron is that it actually works with so many different body sizes and shapes, and I wore it all throughout my pregnancy. So we do have snacks in this house, usually around 3 o'clock. The kids get hungry and they usually help themselves. You can see one of my kids having a little meat and cheese roll up that he pulled out himself, put together. We have granola usually, yogurt, and of course I've got muffins on their way. So we often have something baked up, something from sourdough. So yeah, we do have snacks here in the afternoon. And I am putting together a sheet pan dinner. This is my go-to easy dinner. I needed something that I could just throw together that didn't require tons of chopping for my arm's sake. And so a sheet pan dinner it is for tonight. And I'm throwing in some broccoli, onions, and green beans on a sheet pan with 4 thinly sliced chicken breasts. We are going to be making a homemade teriyaki sauce to go on it, and we're going to sprinkle some sesame seeds on here, and it's going to be a teriyaki dinner. I have a whole video on some sheet pan dinners. I do sheet pan dinners all the time. Like I said, they're really my go-to fast food from scratch type of a meal. And so if you guys are interested in me doing another one of those videos, let me know down in the comments below. I could come up with some more recipes for you. If you don't have teriyaki sauce in your fridge right now, it's really simple to put together. All you need is some soy sauce. You can use honey, maple sugar, maple syrup, brown sugar. Any of those could work. Some ginger, garlic. You could either use the powdered kind or the fresh kind, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, and some water and cornstarch. And that's all you need for making teriyaki sauce. We put a tablespoon of water and a tablespoon of cornstarch together and made a little slurry, and now we're adding that to the pot of all of our ingredients, and we're going to let that simmer on the stove until it starts to thicken up. For the sheet pan dinner, my son is drizzling some olive oil on there, probably some salt and pepper, maybe some garlic powder and onion powder. Maybe he's throwing on a splash of Slap Your Mama, which is his favorite seasoning. I don't know, but it tasted delicious. I'm also going to get started some brown rice over in the Instapot. And that sheet pan dinner is going to bake in the oven at 425 degrees, I think it was, for about 25 to 30 minutes, and at the end I like to put the broiler on and let it just get crispy on top and take it out. The last question is about my stove. This is a Canadian-made Elmira stove. It is electric. I don't have gas hookups in my house. If I did, I would probably have a gas stove. But this seems to be working great. It has cast iron units on it, and it cooks nice and hot. Although the doors look vintage, it works like a normal stove. I think it was really made in the early 2000s. All of the control pieces are up on top. I really wanted a vintage looking stove, but one that didn't break the bank. And so I found this one over on Facebook Classifieds. You could definitely go and look for a vintage stove. What's nice about this particularly one is that it looks vintage, but it works more as a modern stove. So I love the way it looks. It was painted by an artist in Kansas City, and it's just a beautiful little vintage stove, and I think it fits our kitchen really well. I just want to thank you all for being here today and enjoying this very, very simple cooking from scratch day in my home. Thanks for all your love and support. I love chatting with you down in the comments. I do make a new video each week, and I will see you guys next week. Love you lots.